Hello and welcome to the Addicts podcast. I'm your host, Jim R. Today is episode 98, and we're going to be doing a little bit something different. We're going to be going over Joey R's book today, but real quick, let's give an introduction. We have Adam W. How are you doing this afternoon, Adam?
Hey, good to see you again.
Yeah, it was good seeing you. Everyone here has done a podcast in the past. That's how we all met each other, and Kevin helps run the group. But that's the second introduction. This is Kevin. He's in charge of our social media team here at Addicts Anonymous. You want to say hello, Kevin?
Hey guys, how are you?
All right. And then the last is Joey R. He actually wrote the book we're going to be going over today. What's up, Joey?
Yeah, look, I'm excited. Want to do this.
All right, sounds good. So let's get, first thing is, what is the title of your book?
I'm gonna can you see
All
it?
right, so is you have the power to fully recover from your alcohol use disorder, no steps required.
Exactly.
All right, so today we're going to be reviewing that book, or I should say we're going to be picking a section and going over it, and the section is the 3 commitments.
Yes.
So I'm going to hand it over to you, Joey. It sounds like you're going to read a portion of that, and we're going to go over the article. So it's all
Okay,
you
everybody.
now.
All right, everybody's got a copy, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. The 3 commitments. Number 1, to remain sober. Number 2, to create a positive lifestyle. And number 3, to seek happiness and contentment. If you commit to remaining sober by just saying no to alcohol, there is a possibility, albeit a small one, that in the long run, you will succeed. However, if you make a commitment to change your lifestyle and seek happiness and contentment, as well as remaining sober, your degree of success will drastically increase. So are you now ready and willing to make a commitment? Not just a wish or a hope, not just a decision. Making a decision is a start, but making a commitment goes far beyond that. A commitment involves attentiveness, dedication and devotion, determination and effort. It's about making a pact with yourself, making it a non-negotiable priority. Once you commit, you become personally responsible for your success, for your own freedom. That really is quite empowering. And right now, that is exactly what you need to be self-empowered. Instead of turning over your will to some higher power, you are empowering yourself. You are strengthening your will. You will discover a higher power within you. You already have the power. You just need to access it. To remain committed, you need to be adaptable, patient, focused, and most of all,
I think we lost him for a second.
Yeah, give it a moment. I'm going to pause this for a moment and we'll come right back.
to remain committed, you need to be adaptable, patient, focused, and most of all, determined. No thing, no person, no place, and no situation can make you drink. You choose to drink, and that is why only you can commit to not drink alcohol. There is no one that can make you happy other than yourself, and there is no one who could take that happiness away from you. You need to be your biggest believer and your strongest supporter. Again, your threefold commitment consists of remaining sober, maintaining a positive lifestyle, and pursuing happiness and contentment. These 3 commitments share a collectively beneficial relationship. By abstaining from alcohol and adjusting your lifestyle, you will become happier and more content. As your happiness increases, you will find it easier to make improvements to your lifestyle, and the positivity of your new lifestyle will overshadow any thoughts about drinking, thereby helping you to remain sober. It is a positive upward spiral with only favorable results. You are committing to fundamentally change the way you live. Know that all this is not an overnight fix, not an instant solution to your difficulties. It is a path of transformation, a process that requires your commitment. It will take determination, patience, and a sustained effort to establish new habits that will bring about real happiness, a state of happiness that will remain despite having to deal with life's inevitable difficulties and challenges. You're remaining sober so that you could find real happiness and contentment instead of experiencing a series of temporary, momentary pleasures. You have the ability, but do you have the willingness to take on such a radical change of lifestyle? I strongly urge you to do everything in your power to achieve and maintain positivity and happiness in your life. It is most definitely worth it. You are worth it. It's going to be life-changing in a good way. I encourage you to make that commitment and make it right now. Choose the rest of your life to be the best of your life. By choosing a sober lifestyle, you will be in the minority, but that minority is actually growing as people are starting to realize that excessively drinking alcohol is nothing more than a slow suicide.
That
The end.
was great. Yeah, that was great. Real quick before we get into it, I do like that one line at the end, choose the rest of your life to be the best of your life. That was great, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, we almost don't have a chance, right? I mean, I have a say in that. It's got to be. Otherwise, we're going to go backwards.
So there is 3 commitments. Let's talk about the first one. Let's break them down. To remain sober.
Yeah.
Sounds easy, right? Yeah, just remain sober, no problem. So I guess let's talk about what do we do to remain sober? And I guess if you want me to lead by example, I'll go first. So an example would be, for me, this keeps me sober. Besides doing stuff that we're making content to help people, I'm also getting to talk to other addicts. And for some reason, whenever us addicts get together and have conversations, we just feel better, because it's like automatically sitting down, and before you say anything, this guy's going to get it, or this gal is going to get it, because they're going to understand. When you sit down with other people, a lot of times the first thing that goes through my mind personally is, oh shit, they're not going to get it. This is going to go right over their head, right under their head, through the sides. They're not going to get it because they can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It also feels good to know that you're not alone.
Right. Oh yeah, that's absolutely huge to know that you're not alone. But to continue what I was saying, so for me, this is to remain sober is doing this. I also write a lot of articles for us. Obviously Joey made this article. This is the 3 commitments examined. This is the article he took an excerpt from his book. But yeah, this is what keeps me sober. Also doing things like meditation, making sure self-care is very important. Like right. I might work my ass off during the day doing this and my full-time job, but everyone will tell you, Kevin will tell you, I go dark at about 9 o'clock. Jimmy's no longer online. He's not answering messages. I go dark because I take an hour for myself, maybe 2. I watch some TV, I relax, I eat, and then I go to bed. So that's very important to me. And another thing, this all might sound like silly stuff, but for anyone listening, they obviously have an addiction issue. Most likely, we might have some sober people listening, but sleep is also very important, because a lot of us, we don't go to bed till late. Next thing you know, we have to wake up early for work, and then we're tired all day. It puts us in a bad mood. And everyone should know the acronym HALT, which the last one is tired, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. So that's a big thing, that your sleep is very important. It might be one of the most important things, because if you don't wake up on the right foot, it's very hard to come back from that. Sometimes the day changes, but a lot of times it's hard to come back from a bad start to the day. You're kind of in a lesser mood the rest of the day. But yeah, I think that we, to remain sober, which is the first commitment, we need to keep busy. It just depends what we're keeping busy with. So who wants to go next? How they remain sober?
I'll go.
All right, what's up, Kevin?
You know, there's a lot of things that, like you said, there's several things, that I put together during the day, that I have to, repeat over and over and over and over again. Yeah, and the one big thing is helping others. You know, I sponsor people. I talk to people online all the time, every day. And share how I recovered. How I recovered isn't the same as everybody else, and I think what we try to the thoughts we try to impose on people here at Addicts Anonymous is it doesn't really matter how you recover as long as you recover. Your life becomes manageable again. The people that you love are back in your life again. You can hold a job, whatever works for you, and this article's awesome. The only thing that I'm not quite in line with is that one or two little paragraphs. This is my story, so it doesn't mean what I'm going to say is right or wrong. You know what I mean? But in my recovery, I tried so many different ways. I tried imposing my will, and until I believe in God. As soon as I accepted God, and tried to do His will instead of mine, things got tremendously better. And I'm sober now 3.5 years, and I've never been able to achieve that in all the other ways I've tried. But again, that's my story. Everybody's just different. Not everybody believes in God, and doesn't matter to me. As long as you get sober, that's awesome. For me too, going to meetings. I attend 2 or 3 of ours a week, and then I have others that I attend. It's good for me to hear other people's take on things, because you never know when you're going to learn something. Everything, all the knowledge I have came from somebody else. I didn't think of any of this stuff up on my own. It was all handed down to me from all different sorts of recovery. Mainly for me, it was 12 steps. And just say real fast, Bill and Bob's thought of altruism. One alcoholic or addict helping another to stay sober is paramount. And as far as I'm concerned, it's what we do. Not only to spread awareness, and you never know whose life you're going to touch. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, like you said, everyone's recovery is different. So some people, that's why in our 4 pillars that we added community, because it could be part of your religious community and believing in God. Because some people out there, they need something else. They need that third party to be their higher power and something to look up to and want to use to empower themselves. But can it also no, you go, Kevin.
And I said, in reading this, it lines up with our 4 pillars. You know what I mean? That's why, since Joey's been introduced, and the stuff that I read that he's written really fits well into our program.
Oh yeah, we clicked that first day we met when we were just talking. I forget it was before or after the interview, but yeah, a lot of the things definitely align with the 4 pillars. Hard work and discipline could be squeezed into here as far as you need to make a commitment. You need to stick to that commitment. So yeah, a lot of the things align, and also
self-love, self-care.
Yeah. So, Adam, how do you remain sober? We're still dissecting the 3 commitments, and the first one is to remain sober.
Yeah. Boy, there's a lot to unpack here already. Um, uh, as far as remaining sober, I utilize an enormous amount of recovery programs, recovery literature, as well as critical thinking skills, which were well expressed in that piece, and also spiritual teachers as well, and a lot of healing work. So, when listening to the literature, it reminds me of a little bit of Dharma recovery, what was once referred to as refuge recovery. There's also smart recovery. There is Atheists Anonymous. There's just so many different avenues to take, so many different paths. And I'm reminded of an old metaphor where there's many different ways up to the mountaintop.
Right.
You can hike, you can take a mule, you can take a helicopter, but as long as it gets you to the mountaintop, that's the point. you know so I think this is an excellent way to frame recovery that is more inclusive to people that have a problem with the God concept. And I love how the literature references tapping to the power within, the divine within. I think that's the whole philosophy towards religion is pointing to. Whether you look at Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism, it's all about the kingdom of heaven is within. And so it's a very empowering way to approach recovery, is to tap into that power within, the divinity within. However you define it, it doesn't matter. So, everything that I do tries to aim towards focusing my energy in that positive direction as far as staying sober is concerned.
Adam, you stole the you stole my next thought. I was just going to say that I certainly believe in a higher power. I certainly, and if you want to call that higher power God, that's cool too.
Yeah.
And I do believe, like what Jesus said, that the kingdom of God is within your midst. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like what you said. You have God within you. Buddha said it's in Buddhism. It's like it's you have Buddhahood. It's already within you. It's just a matter of reaching down and finding those inherent good qualities, God-given qualities about you that are going to help you out in recovering.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing, what really helped me remain sober, especially for the first year or so, was writing the book. I mean, because when you write, you just don't write. Like Kevin said, there's nothing new that you come up with. We just hear things from everybody else, and we kind of put them together and make sense out of them, and that's it. This is like a culmination of like, I don't know, 75 to 100 different publications and books and whatnot. So it's not all me. It's just me relaying, the good stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a ton of articles, and that's all really it is when you're doing some type of article for things like this. It's just research. And through that research, you pick out what you think are the most important parts of each article or each book, and you just throw it into the article. It's just, I consider it a gathering. You're a collector of information. It's just you're the tool, because a lot of people, they don't want to go through 75 books. let's call it what it is. It's America, and people are lazy. They want the quick version of it. They want the quick version. And Kevin, just so you know, you're muted, Kevin. But they want the quick version, and it's not always the case. But people like you and people like me and Chrissy that write for Addicts Anonymous, we're just gatherers of information, putting it
Right.
into a paper, an article, and somebody might read ours and use a piece of ours in their next article, and it's just a continuum.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So let's go to the next one, which is to create a positive lifestyle. So I'll go first again. And this for me, it comes back to this group, and not to just keep using the group, but this is now a lifestyle for me. Like recovery is very much a lifestyle. Like when you get up in the morning, just everything is going to be different. You know, maybe you have to do some positive affirmations in the mirror. You might have to make sure you eat a healthy breakfast, because once again, going back to that acronym HALT, we talked about tired earlier. First one's hungry. So make sure you eat a good meal. I mean, and these are the things that normal people might be able to afford to skip without it destroying their day. But for some of us, you know, if we don't have our proper meal in the morning, that is going to really affect the rest of the day. You're kind of hungry. That leads to being angry. And it's kind of just a cycle that you don't want to put yourself in. But yeah, to create a positive lifestyle is also trying new things. Like meetings to me were also new. So hitting up meetings was my way of creating a positive lifestyle, surrounding myself with people that we are in sync. We've shared the same experiences. I can understand them. They can understand me. So that's also part of creating a positive lifestyle. Is it can also tie into the Addicts Anonymous 4 pillars, where it's community. Creating a positive lifestyle is also about surrounding yourself with the right people. And it's also about making sure the wrong people are pushed out of your life. Sometimes it's hard to create a positive lifestyle. You have to say goodbye to your drug dealer. But guess what? A lot of drug dealers are your good friend or your best friend. And you got to turn around and look them in the eyes and say, dude, we can't chill no more. And the story, you're still on crack or whatever you're doing, heroin, or you're drinking, or you're compulsively spending, you're a gambler, and I'm also a gambler. So that's also part of creating a positive lifestyle, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I was I don't mention it in this article, but as far as positivity, it has a lot to do with our own personal qualities as well. If we're engaging in things, or if we cultivate a good character traits like kindness and compassion and generosity, and we have those positive emotions and positive behaviors, when you're involved in all that, and like Kevin said before about giving back, or sponsoring somebody, or helping somebody else understand what you're going through and what you need to do, stuff like that, like giving back, that's a big positivity.
Yeah. I was thinking about when I went to the hospital one time. I forget what it was for. I think I had sepsis or something, an infection from, I was an IV drug user. But you know how some people say things to you and it just sticks? The nurse, while I was leaving, she said, make healthy choices. And something just clicked. The concept of making healthy choices. And I use that a lot before I act. I'll use the concept of pause a lot and ask myself, is this a good, healthy, positive choice? And I think that a lot of people that go to meetings have a negative experience. As far as 12-step traditional groups, and it really pushes them away. You'll hear a lot of people talk about going to meetings triggered the urge to drink for them,
That
or
happened to me. Yeah.
yeah, or that they felt judged, or a lot of times, um, I guess what I'm getting at is, even though you're in so-called recovery and in a 12-step program and sober, doesn't necessarily mean that you are a positive, healthy person. And because they talk about addiction is 90% behavior, 10% is just the drugs and alcohol. So you get rid of the drugs and alcohol, and the lifestyle, the behaviors are still there, because we've developed these patterns. It took a long time for me just to stop stealing out of stores sober. I was still clinging to the old idea that it was okay for me to take things without buying them. And, I had somehow justified this behavior, and obviously that's a negative behavior. And so a lot of this, I think, is looking at patterns, looking at behaviors, understanding what is positive, what is negative, and also the idea of discernment, as far as listening to your gut, and whether or not a person that is somebody that you want to surround yourself with. Because a lot of times, also, I'll end with this thought, is in as far as sponsorship is concerned, some people take that on as like they're your guru and they're going to control your life, and that's very disempowering. you know so I'll leave it to somebody else to chime in with some of those thoughts.
Well,
Yeah, you go, Kevin.
I'm sorry, my volume for me listening somehow went off. I don't know what happened, but I could hear a little bit of what you're saying. Creating a lifestyle for me, and for many, is a process. I learned through therapy and meetings, steps, everything. I had to put it all together, but the one thing my therapist stressed with me was kind of a cognitive thing. My thoughts control my behaviors control my emotions, and then that all can lead up to bad decisions. When I'm able to change what's going on inside my head, is the start of creating a new lifestyle, a better lifestyle. Recognizing my bad decisions helps me to make new good decisions. And it took me a while to figure this all out, and it's from listening to other people. When I was able to achieve all this, my lifestyle started to change. The whole holistic approach, eating better and getting the right nutrients. And, I've been doing very well at it. The only thing I got left is the darn smoking. But, when I would go through all that, and one thing I was able to learn is, if I think I'm about to make a wrong decision, I can step back and look at it, and figure out what I'm doing wrong. And that's a big step for me, because I never, I was impulsive, and everything, when I was in my active addiction, and when my mental health goes untreated. Once we learn all these things, then the new lifestyle just gradually just starts working its way into it. And, you look back and you think, man, I'm not living like that anymore. I'm doing good. I'm getting exercise. I'm eating good. I'm sleeping. All the good things, that come along when you make that, eventually make that conscious decision that I have to change my lifestyle. And that includes people, places, things, everything, and it's an ongoing thing. It's repetitive for me every day. Wake up, meditate, do what I normally do, read scripture or pray, and then continue on with my day and try to make great choices all throughout the day. And then, that creates, a better lifestyle.
That's important. Creating a better lifestyle for yourself is very, very important.
Yeah, that's why I refer to it as a radical change of lifestyle. Because basically, I don't know about you guys, but I had to do a 180. I mean, I didn't think about, like you mentioned it before. I think, Jim, you talked about self-care,
Yeah.
right? That's like a daily part of my routine. It's a daily routine to have self-care, to meditate, as you mentioned, to exercise. I know I mentioned it to you one time. My wife and I go out into nature. We do nature hikes every week. And you just, I don't know how to describe that. We'll talk about that another time, but that's been a big part of my sobriety as well. We've been doing it for about a year and a half now, every weekend.
Yeah.
But there's so many things. I mean, everybody's got different things, but as long as, like, I think Kevin mentioned, it's like, healthy lifestyle, that's really the goal. Something, like positivity, learning from the Dalai Lama that and also not just the Dalai Lama, but from neuroplasticity, and training your brain, that you want to have more positive emotions than negative emotions. Not saying that negative emotions are bad. They serve their purpose. They were meant to be temporary, and they're like a warning sign. You deal with the problem and that's it, and then you start focusing on the positive. So see, right now I forgot where I was going, but yeah, but all these are positive things that you incorporate in your new lifestyle.
Yeah, very important. So Kevin's going to be back in just a moment. He was having a bit of technical difficulties here. Hopefully he's solved. Gotta love technology, brings us all together, but then it does stuff like this. But the third commitment is to seek happiness and contentment.
Yeah.
I think the first two words are very important. To seek. Some people kind of wait for things to fall in their lap. Like, okay, I stopped drinking. Now I'm all good to go. Oh, hell no. You still have a long way to go. Once you quit drinking, that's just the beginning of a long, long journey. You know what I mean? Some people, they don't seek anything, and you have to seek happiness and contentment.
Right. Absolutely.
And seeking happiness could be, like, for me personally, I'm content. I'm happy and I'm content when my day just goes like this, where I go, wait, well, today was a little late, but usually I wake up, I can meditate. I take my time on Sundays. I do a podcast. I take a little break. I do another podcast. And I'm doing things because they're making me happy. It makes me content. If this did not make me happy, I would still do it because I think it needs to be done. People need to have their stories told, but I would not probably do it as much. I typically do 3 to 4 podcasts on a day that I'm off. Kevin's seen my schedule now. He has access to my calendar. But yeah, but I seek it out. I go out and I look for things that make me happy. Go read a book. Go just, look outside, see the birds going around, smell the fresh grass when it's cut. So I seek out little things that make me happy. And, as far as contentment, that's a big thing. It's just being happy where you are and being okay with everything around you. Like there are some times where I'm just okay with everything around me. I'm content. Nothing needs to change. You know, I'm just content with what I have. But I still don't stop seeking. I'm still always looking for new things to make me happy. I don't want to be an addict and like kind of find the next fix and just do my recovery the wrong way. But I need to find things that are going to, happiness is the journey to contentment. Does that make sense? Like your happiness is you joining or you doing your process to get to contentment. Because once you have happiness to a certain degree, you're going to be content. You're going to say, okay, I don't need anything else in my life. And that's a hard thing to do because nowadays in society, people feel they always need new things in their life to show off, whether it's the next big car, nice car, or their clothes. It's all status symbols. But they're not seeking, in my mind, they're not seeking happiness in the right places.
Right. Both the Dalai Lama as well as Carl Jung, the psychologist, both agree that true happiness, is found within. It's not based on form. It's not based on material things in life. It's not based on, not even on situations in life. It's based on, what's in between your two ears. That's what makes you happy. And a big part of that is, like you mentioned about contentment, you need gratitude. You need to be happy, thankful, appreciative of what you have, satisfied with what you have, and basically saying to yourself, you know what? Yeah, I may not have everything, but I've got enough. This is enough for me. I'm good. I don't need any more pie. I had enough, that's it. So, yeah. And it's the things within that really make us happy. And obviously, and doing for others as well.
For me, when I look at it in the aspect of active addiction versus recovery, when I was in my active addiction, I couldn't imagine life being happy without using something, And that was a big barrier for me to break because everywhere I went, I had booze in my hand, everywhere. Or other substances, or heroin or whatever. Because I'm a trash can. Anything that gets me out of myself, I did. But and it was, again, it's a process to learn. I mean, there's several things I had to do. Like, I'm a person with bipolar, and I spent long periods of time in the depression end of it, and it was explained to me, happiness just doesn't come. I mean, it just doesn't, eventually just drop in your lap. You have to seek it.
Yep.
Get rid of the negative thoughts. Hook up with people who are sober or don't have a problem, that aren't inflicted with what we're inflicted with. Go out, shoot pool, go bowling, go to the movies, stuff I had stopped doing, because I didn't see the happiness in it. I didn't see the fun in it, and with the process of recovering, all that stuff for me, it was a little bit slow, but it started coming back. When I started, practicing things that other people told me to do, I was like, holy crap, you're right. So yeah, like I said, again, it comes down to, you have to seek it. It just doesn't fall in your lap. And sometimes it's a process to learn, to relearn, to rethink all these things.
Sometimes it's a long process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I on as far as seeking happiness and contentment, that became a really important, crucial question for me when I discovered in my spiritual journey that everything that I was seeking for happiness was basically an illusion. That I was taught growing up that happiness and success is making a lot of money and owning a lot of material things and having a beautiful woman on my side to, affirm that I'm a good person and also get a lot of appreciation and praise from people. And this is what I was really addicted to. And when I discovered some spiritual teachers through my journey, like Alan Watts, Anthony DeMello, Carl Jung was an excellent resource to integrate the unconscious, the shadow, the trauma that I had experienced as a child, that kept me in a state of survival. All of these teachers and tools were very important for me to deconstruct and let go of the old ideas that kept me trapped in this disillusioned state of basically unhappiness. Like I was miserable and in a constant state of fear and anxiety and worry, always reaching outside of myself to change the way I felt. And so, I would say that, as far as happiness and contentment was concerned, learning about those things and understanding where all of this information came from, like I quoted in our podcast, my information came from misinformed people. And so now as I learn these new concepts and begin to understand and grasp that happiness does come from within and letting go of all these old ideas, then I can experience true happiness, joy, and contentment. I start to actually get a taste of it and I want more. And so now that's what drives me every day as far as my spiritual maintenance is concerned and my commitments to stay sober is as I engage in these practices of connecting to the divine within and nature and expressing myself through my creativity, my gifts and my talents, and also enjoying true authentic connection with other people, deepening and enriching my relationships through authentic, honest connection and love and intimacy and vulnerability. These are the things that really give me true happiness and joy and contentment without chemicals. And that's what I've been seeking the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you touched on trauma too. That got me thinking real quick. I had to get rid. How can I put this so it's understandable? The trauma in my life, the guilt, the shame, for the stuff I inflicted on my kids, the trauma I went through myself, being molested and having somebody really close to me dying who wasn't supposed to die, and when I was a child, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of it. I had to, give it up.
Yeah, to heal.
Exactly. Before the happiness could begin. And the big thing for me was, when I was, let's say, introducing trauma to my children, I didn't realize I was doing it. I didn't know anything about trauma. I didn't know anything about recovery or whatever, And when I figured it out, it caused me trauma, because, why did I do that crap,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that I did that caused trauma to my kids. Nothing, nothing physically or anything, but them witnessing me doing this crap that I did caused trauma for them, and two of them have PTSD now, because of the crap
that I and my ex inflicted on the kids, and it took me a long time, several years, because I kept relapsing and relapsing to finally realize, I can't hold on to these feelings or these emotions, these thoughts, because it's keeping me sick, and to me, it's all about being sick in the mind, and that's what it is. And I have to change it, before I can get better.
Well,
And then go ahead.
just the fact that you recognize that is huge, and that you're working to heal that part. And I applaud you for having the courage to even look at it, because the majority of people, are so trauma is so prevalent in our society that most people don't even recognize it's there.
Right.
And it's passed on to our kids, and the cycle of trauma and violence and addiction continues. And that's my biggest focus now, as well as I have a daughter who's 5 years old, so I'm trying to break that cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Now's the time to start. Yep.
I don't mean to be plugging anyone else's book, but there's a great book, Kevin, Adam, and Jim, on that, and you might have read it, is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and he talks about that, how we pass all these things on to our children.
Right.
And Gabor Mate is also great.
Yes,
I was just about to mention him. That was my next words coming out of my mouth. You got good taste, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but he's a great resource. Like huge. Like he believes, just like you guys are saying, everything's passed down from trauma.
In fact, I was just gonna say, in fact, I have that book on order about the heavenly ghosts.
The hungry ghosts.
Hungry ghosts. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
it is based on a Buddhist principle, isn't it? The hungry ghost is a Buddhist thing.
Yes, that's a realm of
Exactly, a realm.
samsara in the Buddhist principle, in the wheel of samsara. And there's an amazing movie called The Wisdom of Trauma that I highly recommend anybody that's doing healing work to check out. You can watch it for free on their website.
Cool.
And it, this could be a topic for another thing, but that, with the trauma and that, being repetitive is, when we hear somebody talk about alcoholism being hereditary, most of my friends all experience trauma. Their parents experience trauma. Their parents experience trauma. That's, where I definitely believe it's an illness. It's a disorder, whatever you want to call it. But, I still can't, I don't have an opinion on whether it's hereditary or if it's, trauma, but everything that we go through is trauma based. I don't want to take the trauma thing too far, but, you have to look at it. I have to look at it, because I do have friends that didn't experience any significant trauma in their life, and their parents weren't alcoholics, and they didn't live a perfect life, but they didn't live a life like me, and they were still an addict. So
it's definitely another topic worth discussing for sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I really do think, I mean, you could just see by 4 grown men sitting here on a Sunday afternoon talking about this, that this really is, to me, the most important thing in my life.
Right.
And that's why I stress so much to once you realize that you got to do these things, make it a commitment to yourself. Don't just an unchangeable and unwavering commitment. That's no matter what, and it may not be easy every day, and you all know that. But it's just a commitment. Once you make a commitment, I mean, that's it. That's like, you put the seal on it. I'm doing it. This is me for the rest of my life. I'm going to keep doing this because I've been the other way. I don't want to go back there. I don't think any of you want to go back there, before the way we, right when we started drinking or drugging or what have you. yeah, I don't want to go back to that point. That was horrible. But this is so much more freeing. I think it's I like feeling empowered like this. I like viewing the world with 2020 vision now. I
Yeah.
didn't have that before.
Yeah.
Good and bad. You see the good and bad in the world. I mean, we all know what's happening throughout the world today. But there are good things. There are beautiful things that are happening throughout the world as well. And there's some, there's some horrible things. So I think it's William James. And I'll tell you what, Oprah Winfrey stole this from William James. What William James said, it's what we give our attention to, what we focus on is what's going to happen in our lives. Because when we focus on something that's going to be, then it's going to, we're going to think about that. Those thoughts going to turn into emotions be turned into behaviors be turn into habits.
Mhm.
So it's just what we focus on. But
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And the William James is also referenced in the big book, The Varieties of Religious Experience.
Mhm.
It's a pretty heavy book, but it talks about the different concepts of spiritual experiences as opposed to a spiritual awakening.
Mm.
And a spiritual experience is defined as something that happens quick, like a quick flash of awakening. And the spiritual awakening is something that happens slowly over a period of time. And I think that as we live these commitments and continue to make healthy choices and, to continue to engage in all the things we've talked about, our spiritual awakening grows as a daily process. I mean, that's been my experience, is like the more I engage in this stuff, the more my eyes open wider and wider to a more beautiful world that my heart knows is possible. I remember just recently listening to a talk by Ram Dass about how to live in hell with your heart open wide.
Mhm. But you've heard what I forget who said this, but I'm not sure if it was Winston Churchill or somebody who said that if you're in hell, keep walking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to stay there. Just keep going.
Yeah, right.
I get what you're saying. That for me, there was a whole chain of spiritual experiences that became a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
Like they all had, especially when I went through the 12 steps, I had quite a few spiritual, experiences. The third step was a big one. When I decided that I wanted this and that, I wanted it bad, and I had been through the steps many times before. But when I made that conscious decision to get better, I had several spiritual experiences with the third step, with the 12 step. I mean, there was a bunch of them, and listening to other people, what they had to say, and even Bible studies, for me, brought on spiritual experiences. And then at one point, I reflected on all of them and realized this is a spiritual awakening, and this is what they're talking about. This is how I get better, like Dr. Young said that, I haven't seen many that did, but, and you probably won't either, but you'll, I have seen it work, with the spiritual awakening.
And that's part of seeking happiness, is the gradual process, and you got to continue seeking.
You do. And that's a good point, Jim, because Yeah, I want to say 90% of it, like we said before, and I think we all agreed, it comes from within, happiness. But there are external strategies for happiness. Like we mentioned, things that make you happy on a daily or weekly basis. Like, for me, it's spending time with my grandson and my stepson. And we it's just simple as this, man. We just do this Wii bowling thing, and it's like the three of us. We got our own little club, man. Everybody's trying, and the two of them have hit 300s. I still haven't, but it's just like a fun thing. So having fun, treating yourself to fun, or humor, or comedy, or laughter, or just smiling on
Yeah.
any given day is nothing but positive.
Yeah.
No matter what I mean, as long as it's not to any detriment of another human being, having fun is a great thing. Smiling. It's interesting, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but if you smile, even if you just put on a fake smile, okay, you just put on a fake smile, your brain does not know that that's a fake smile. So what caused you to smile, the things that the brain initiated, all the chemicals that come out and create you to make that smile. By smiling, you're going to get those benefits anyway from your brain. So it's kind of a crazy thing. When I learned that, I'm like, really? And then I tried it. I would wake up sometimes a little bit anxious, and I'd start to meditate, but I wouldn't meditate, just meditate. I'd meditate and try and force a smile on my face. And it was a lot better. I mean, it really made a difference. So it's something simple like that. But, these are like little external things that you pick up, and, you pass along to everybody else. And hopefully some people find that beneficial.
Yeah. I'm reminded of there's a meta meditation that Tara Brach does.
Oh, Tara Brach. Yeah.
Yeah, on YouTube. That's really, really just a great somatic meditation where she walks you through different parts of the body, just smiling. And it's been really effective for me.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, and what I'm, um, acquiring and retaining in my head about the three commitments is, they all lead up to happiness. I mean, happiness is part of it, but when you start practicing those things that other people tell you to do, and you pick. For me, it was a decision to pick, which road I wanted to go down and how I wanted to do it. But in the end, I love when you said playing with the grandchild. I mean, those first moments of clarity when you start getting better, are indescribable to me. I was just thinking about it, and I actually wrote a little piece about it. You start seeing the vibrant colors outside, and the sun rising, the moon coming up, and it's just amazing because I'm, and practicing and committing that kind of stuff to my life, everything started falling into place. It's not that my kids didn't want to have anything to do with me, but they didn't, they supported me, but they'd seen over the years all the broken promises and this and that, and and they're leery. They were leery. And this last time, after being sober for over a year, my daughter asked me to come down and help watch the kids, while she was at work. I was in Philly, and I'm where I'm at now in North Carolina. And initially I was like, yeah, of course, and that made me happy, that people that were leery of me before trust me now, to watch their children. She wouldn't even, if this happened 10 years ago, it would have never, ever, ever happened. I couldn't even take care of myself, let alone take care of a child. And they know that firsthand, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean,
You know, it's great when you look back and you realize, you know, everything that you've been doing and continue to do leads you to the place where you want to be. I mean, it sounds kind of corny or whatever, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it is. It is the truth. Yep. Yeah, and I think it's Don Miguel Ruiz in the Four Agreements talks about our childlike state. You know, when you look at a little 2-year-old running around, okay, they're doing nothing but having fun. I mean, that's their sole purpose in life, is to be happy. And even if they get into like a little tiff with one of their playmates, man, it's over in a couple of minutes and they're back to playing with each other. They're not holding grudges, resentment, bitterness. No, that's they're living in the present, and that's it. That's their thing, is just to enjoy themselves and have fun. I'm not saying that we should shirk our responsibilities, but just to keep that childlikeness inside of us, that it to me, it I don't know, it keeps me from aging, I think. But
Yeah.
you got to have it.
Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah, that's the real happiness.
I can still remember the first time in a long time that I actually had a side splitting or hurting laugh. I hadn't laughed in years. I mean, I did a little chuckle here and there, but I hadn't laughed in a long time, and gradually all this stuff comes back, and I laugh on a daily basis now, where I hadn't laughed in years, 20 years, really laughed. Got enjoyment out of something, get enjoyment out of my grandchildren. And, I can laugh at the stuff they do, and I don't have to worry about disciplining them too much, because that's mom and dad's area. I mean, of course I have to here and there, but, it's just great. Life is great.
Yeah, it is.
As long as you do the third commitment and you seek happiness and you seek contentment, life could be great.
Yep.
Yeah. Big difference between happiness and just momentary pleasure.
Right.
That just doesn't last. I mean, happiness is more long lasting. Contentment is even more permanent than happiness, because even the happiest person isn't happy all the time. But once you've reached that point of contentment, like you were talking about, Jim, before, that by the end of the day, all the stuff you've done, and 9 o'clock comes and you have your little time for yourself. I mean, you got to feel content and satisfied with your day, and
Exactly.
that's something that could happen every day. You can have contentment every day. Even on an unhappy day, you'll find contentment.
As long as you're searching for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
What is this the saying? Ask and you shall receive.
Mm-hmm.
So seek it out. Hopefully you
Right.
receive something.
Right.
But yeah, one of the last things I want to talk about was this great line that says, choose the rest of your life to be the best of your life. How would you say you guys are going about doing that? I'll repeat it again. It's how to keep, one second, what was it? It was choose the rest of your life to be the best of your life.
For me, I keep I look at every day. I'm not a competitive person. In fact, the only person I compete with is me.
Yeah.
I want to be a better version of who I was yesterday. And whatever it takes, to me, it's a lot. I mean, I'm a big reader. And I just enjoy knowledge. I enjoy reading self-improvement books, and anything that takes me to the next level of happiness. That, to me, that's what does it. And then applying, what you learn, so. And of course, I like to share with what I learned. So I'm already started on the next book, and that's part of my recovery as well. So,
Yeah, and I like how you wrote choose the rest of your life. You have to make a decision to do that. You have to choose
you do.
that you want to be better. You have to really make a choice. You have to make a solid choice.
Yeah.
So many of us had said, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But we never made a solid commitment. And that's what your article is about, is commitments. And you have to choose the rest of your life to be the best of your life. For me, not to sound repetitive, that's just doing things like this. And so I say to myself, will you be doing this in 30 years? And I will. I'm choosing the rest of my life to be the best of my life. So what I'm doing now, I'm going to continue doing. It's me seeking contentment through helping other people, which is completely okay. You mentioned the Dalai Lama before. He talks about the concept of being selfish. He goes, some people are just selfish, but if you're going to be selfish, be wise selfish.
Yep.
And what that means is, for me, like, this does get me going. I enjoy doing this. It gives me a little bit of a high. I joke around, say I'm addicted to my recovery, but at the end of the day, I'm doing it for me, but it's helping other people at the same time.
Right. Yeah. That's like what generosity is about. It's about you're doing something for somebody else, but you're also doing it for yourself too, because it makes you feel good. Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's just another form of generosity that you're talking about, Jim, by, sharing it with other people, what you've learned and what's made you happy.
And to expand on that choice thing, there's a lot of debate on, from people who don't have our disease or our disorder, that, the whole addiction thing is a choice. And the way I look at it is, it wasn't a choice that we got this disease.
Right.
But once we know we have it, it's our responsibility to do something about it. And that takes a choice. Do I want to keep living the way I lived before, or do I want to get better? And if I keep choosing the other way, it's a known fact, nothing's going to get better. You may lie to yourself, and say you're doing better, but it's not going to happen until you make that choice to get better. Things won't get better. And once you make that choice and you stick to it, and, for me, like I said, it's repetition every day. Life isn't going to change. You're not going to be living a better lifestyle. You're not going to be happy, and you're not going to be sober, so it's up to you it's up to the person, each individual, to make the choice. Once they know they have this disease and they're aware of it, then it does become a choice, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I'm reminded of, as far as that, choosing the rest of your life to be your best life. I'm reminded of a TED talk I listened to years ago by a college professor who was dying of cancer, and it was his last talk. And he talked about, the concept of living each day like it's your last. And I just really appreciate and understand the concept of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And really just appreciating, the small little joys in life, the time I get to spend with my daughter and in nature, and like you said, having fun, and becoming again as a child in order to enter the kingdom of heaven, as the biblical Christian quote. But there's a lot to that. And just embracing the moment, the present moment, and engaging fully in life.
Absolutely. Applying Buddha principles.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me also, you have to do things now that you know are going to make you happy. It's about planting seeds along the way. Because right now you might be, at a point where you're doing well, but unless you're still planting seeds for your future, you might see a lot of, no matter what, you're going to have ups and downs. You know what I mean? Like people in your life, they're going to pass away. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose family. You're going to get in arguments with someone. Maybe your daughter's not talking to you right now. You're going to suffer. Just like the Buddha say, you're going to suffer. But it's about making that choice and planting seeds for your future. I think that's important when you're saying choose the rest of your life to be the best of your life.
Mhm.
You need to plant seeds for that best life.
We reap what we sow. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this was a great talk. Does anyone else have anything they want to add in?
No, I think thank you guys for today. That was great. I had a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're definitely going to do this again.
Mhm. Yeah.
Where can we get a copy of the book?
Yeah, Joey.
And
I
now here
did.
you go. Here's your big moment to pitch the book. Make sure you get everything out where they know to find it, and anything you need. Just
Okay.
let it.
Again, can you see it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read it's you have the power to fully recover from your alcohol use disorder. No steps required.
Okay. Now it's in paperback. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Barnes and Noble. There's reviews up there. But right now, just a little hint. I don't know if you guys like to read on Kindle or whatever, but you could go and they're doing a Kindle sale right now at Amazon, $99. And you could just and actually they have the first 5 chapters up there just to read if you want to just free sample kind of thing, just to go on Amazon and click on Kindle, click on the book and then click on Kindle and you could, at least get an idea of where the book is leading to, but you kind of have an idea because this chapter is pretty much one of the most important ones that I think, making that commitment. And I followed that theme through a lot of the rest of the chapters. So yeah, it's available online at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, even Walmart.com. It's at I think it's at some there's an online site that distributes, or not distributes, but sells to college students, if textbooks. It's on there as well. I forget what that's called, but I think the easiest way is just go on Amazon Kindle for $2.99. You can get it right, downloaded right to you, as a PDF right on your Kindle or right on your phone even, so. But
And my last question for you, Kevin, or real quick, not Kevin, I'm sorry, Joey. What's your next project? I know you said you're working on the next project, just out of sheer curiosity.
the next project is managing stress in sobriety.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we actually did touch on a few of the things like self-care, but there's quite a bit more, and yeah, I'm working on that now. So
All right, cool. So sounds like we are going to wrap it up now. Here's my little sales pitch at the end. Now, if you like what you heard and saw, click below, subscribe. Also, give us a like. You can find Addicts Anonymous on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. You can also find us on Facebook, where I say to everyone, go to the events tab. It'll give you a link to Zoom meetings we do nightly at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's all we have for today.
Excuse me.
And
Don't
we'll
forget about TikTok. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. We're on TikTok as well. See, that's why Kevin is ahead of our social media. So definitely check us out on TikTok as well. And if you go to our
Follow and like.
website, say again.
Follow and like.
Yeah, follow and like us. Absolutely.
Yep.
And if you go to our website, addicts-anonymous.com, we've got a ton of literature available. There's a ton of resources. You just click on the links. And you can also, in the upper right-hand corner, see all of our social media. That includes TikTok. So that's all we got for today. And until next time.
Okay.